Welcome back. This is The Pulse, and just gone by is Vice President Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, who was speaking at the Africa Prosperity Dialogue at the Accra International Conference Center. And The Pulse is brought to you by Defendril Cough Expectorant. Defendril. Breathe easy, feel better. My name is Kenneth. Jesse, please stay for details. And this afternoon, the battle over the Kpandai parliamentary seat is far from over. This is because the ruling National Democratic Congress (NDC) has served notice. It is pushing for an investigation into the Electoral Commission over alleged falsification of gazette and other electoral documents tied to the Kpandai parliamentary election result declarations. In a recent ruling, the Supreme Court reinstated Matthew Nyindam as the duly elected Member of Parliament for the constituency, a decision that has triggered outrage among NDC supporters, particularly in Kpandai. Speaking on PM Express last night with Evans Mensah, Majority Chief Whip Roxanne Nelson Dafiamakpo alleged that the Electoral Commission manipulated gazette documents to mislead the court into reaching its decision. Take a listen.
Took steps to clean it up on the 6th of January. Now he comes to court and denies the 6th of January Gazette publication.
As an error.
As an error, and calls it a genuine mistake. This is the case that a lot of people are not appreciating. I'm not passionate, but it is the...
But what if indeed it's a genuine error?
Hold on. It is the injustice done to Wakpa.
But what if indeed it's a genuine error?
How can that be a genuine error? Why were you not allowing your head of institution to continue to communicate with Parliament? Because she had communicated with Parliament and gave a certain exact number. You can't get numbers wrong because the number of parliamentary seats is fixed. There's no fraction of seats in Parliament. It is either 276 or not. So you cannot gazette, you can't tell the clerk to Parliament in consonance with Regulation 43 2B of CI 127/2020 that I have gazetted 274, I have 2 outstanding, and then your director of election will use the back door and be communicating with the clerk and be giving different indications. And he goes to court in the name of the commission to now mislead the court that the gazette notification that he had ordered to be done on the 6th of January was no longer a proper one, and that it is 24th. Meanwhile, there's an original letter before Parliament that the gazette notifications were on the 23rd.
So you want the EC investigated?
The EC has to be investigated.
By?
Why? You are not interested in what is playing out here?
I mean, who will investigate the EC?
Parliament can do that, CID can do that, any investigating body can do that. And I'm going to raise this matter in Parliament. But because we are going for a review, I want us to settle the matter on review. And then we can look at the criminal conduct of some officers at the EC.
Criminal conduct?
Yes. You see, in pursuance of PNDC Law 284, especially Section 18, 1 and 2, your right to go to court will be deferred until the AC says I have gazetted.
Yeah.
That is why when parliamentary elections are held on a certain 7th of December, you cannot just, if you are aggrieved, you can't proceed to court. Even though there are some other case law that says that where you are aggrieved by the outcome of a public election, you can proceed to court with. No. Because it's very specific. And the authority in Boefio versus NTAC is very clear that where a law sets down a procedure for a right to be exercised, it's only that procedure that will be followed. So it is EC that will gazette before your right to go to court will be ripe.
Let's get talking, and joining me on Zoom right now is the Director of Elections and ICT for the National Democratic Congress, Rashid Tanko Computer, and the Deputy General Secretary of the NPP, Haruna Mohammed. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. Let me begin with you, Mr. Computer. You allege the Electoral Commission manipulated Gazette documents to mislead the Supreme Court. Really, what specific discrepancies can you point to? Kindly unmute so we can hear you.
Let me say good afternoon to you and Alhaji Haruna and your cherished viewers. But my title is Deputy Director of Elections and IT for the NDC. Very well. You see, that has been our position. The Electoral Commission, in concert with NPP, brought in a gazette to the Tamale High Court, which was dated 6th January 2025. And that gazette had this thing, Kpandai constituency, being part of it. In fact, they swore an affidavit. And that's perjury. They told a lie. That was a big lie. If you lie under oath, it's perjury. And they were doing that in order to convince the court, for the court to side with them, in order to dismiss our application that we filed on 23rd December 2024. That's fraud. And they must be investigated for that. Especially the NPP, the lawyers of Bati Nyindam and Nyindam himself should be investigated. Where did they get the 6th January Gazette from? Who gave them the Gazette? Electoral Commission has been manipulating this Gazette document, in fact, producing it, and not even there. They shouldn't even stop there. In fact, the investigation should also go further to the one who was in charge of Ghana Publishing Company at the time of this 6th January Gazette. All these people should be investigated.
Right.
For falsifying state document and should be dealt with according to law. In fact, we are not even going to end there because falsification of public document is fraud.
Right, I'll come back to you, but let me bring in Haruna Mohammed in at this point. He's the Deputy General Secretary of the opposition NPP. Haruna, has your party independently verified the authenticity of the documents that were relied upon by the Supreme Court?
Thank you very much. First, I say good afternoon to your cherished viewers and Mr. Rashid Tanko Computer. A bit of correction. The Supreme Court did not rely on any Gazette notification on the 6th of January. The Supreme Court did not rely on such documents. If you permit me, I would make some clarifications on this particular matter and to point the fact that the NDC is trying to do all manner of things to please their supporters in Kpandai. Just yesterday or so, they were going to burn down the district assembly because of their dissatisfaction and why the DC did not accompany the lawyers to the Supreme Court. They were going to be beaten at the Supreme Court on 28th. My friend Rashid Tanko is here and he knows what the youth. So they are doing all these things to please the youth and buying time. What actually happened is that, you know, when elections are completed and you want to file a petition, it is very clear in the laws of our land as to how a petition is being filed. I've heard Honorable Dapiamapa made certain statements whilst he was on PM Express, and I was very surprised. You can only file a petition at the court relative to a filing of an announcement or a publication of a gazette. On what basis did the NDC go to court to file their petition? If you ask them, they will be quiet. When they went on the 23rd to file the petition, ask them whether they had notice of any gazette notification at all. Again, when they were filing on the 25th of January, whether they had any notice of gazette notification. These are persons who are not very serious when they are preparing their case. We went to court to respond to your petition. And in the response to your petition, at the time, we had in our hand a publication that was online, which was a gazette notification on the 6th of January. So we filed our case and we submitted that document as a proof of notification to dismiss your application relative for premature application that was sent to court. In that particular circumstances, again, we had a case in Akwetia, which involved them, the NDC. Then we also indicated that relying on the same 6th January Gazette notification, we also filed that the NDC case that they filed for Akwetia was also out of time. So the NDC went to the Supreme Court. This same NDC, they went to the Supreme Court and asked that the 6th January Gazette notification is not the recognized Gazette notification. This was the NDC lawyers speaking. Their current MP for Akwetia was the lawyer in that particular case. This was the NDC lawyers that the 6th January Gazette notification was not the right Gazette notification. They went to the Supreme Court. They wrote to the Assembly Press and went and procured with a proof of purchase. They brought it to court and they argued their case, and the Supreme Court said that the only recognized Gazette notification is the 24th of December Gazette notification, which contained that of Akwetia and that of Kpandai. And this was clear. Apart from the 4 constituencies that were declared and then published in the Gazette for the SIF, there was no any other Gazette notification. This was the NDC. They won on the 11th of June 2025 in the Supreme Court, speaking through their lawyers and affirmed so by the judges of the Supreme Court. Then the NPP, having realized that this was a document that has no recognition in law, which we have used internally, decided that no, then we have to go and procure that, because we have failed in that particular circumstances of stopping the election petition of the NDC, because the verified and valid Gazette notification was that of the 25th. Then you as NDC, who filed your case without a Gazette notification, never had any Gazette notification. You sought to rely on our 6th January. When you fought that 6th January in the Supreme Court and got a judgment, then you sit down today and said they have falsified document. These people should come again. Look, they are not serious. These people are not serious. They don't prepare their case. Not at all.
Right.
So I am telling you on authority that these people, they are sleeping on their job And let me make this clarification too. Afenyo-Markin is saying that, Honorable Afenyo-Markin is saying that a document, he referred to CI 127, Regulation 43B, where he referred as a Gazette notification. He's wrong. In Regulation 43B, 2B of the CI 127, that B did not talk about Gazette notification. The A talks about Gazette notification. The B talks about a report of the elected members of Parliament, which is submitted to the clerk, and that must be put in its right perspective. Honorable Afenyo-Markin did not give a true reflection of the CI. A talks about a Gazette. A talks about a Gazette. That is 43.2A, talks about a Gazette. 43.2B talks about a report. And a Gazette indicates those who contested in the elections and the number of votes that they got. All that is indicated, and then the one that is elected in the status column is indicated as elected. But in the report that is submitted to Parliament for swearing in, for them to know who are the members that are elected, it goes by way of report, not Gazette notification. That one has to be corrected, and that is what I want it to be situated very well. So They know that their case is wrong. They did not take any serious research in their case. They want to please their supporters. They don't want them to bend down the assembly. They don't want them to beat the people, and they are doing red herring and going around and making a lot of noise. They have lost in that particular case. They won it, the same matter, and then they are turning back. No, come on, end this. You are above this. Stop it.
Let me bring back Tanko Computer in at this point. Of course, we heard about this for the first time through Roxanne Nelson Afenyo-Markin last night. But when did the NDC realize these discrepancies?
My brother, if an MP is not gazetted, he cannot be sworn into office. It's not possible. No amount of report can allow an MP to be sworn in. You must be gazetted first. That is the official thing, to show that you were validly elected with this number of votes. Then before you are now being sworn into office. So that one is very clear. Honorable Afenyo-Markin was on spot on. What he said was the right thing. First, you must be gazetted, and before you are sworn in. And it's very clear. What they are saying is this: where did the NPP get the 6th January Gazette? That is the crux of the matter. Who gave it to them? They said they got it online. On which website? Is it from the Electoral Commission website or from the Ghana Publishing Company? They must show it. That's why we want the investigation to commence to find out where they get it. Because they swore an affidavit and attached that 6th January gazette, the Tamale High Court. And you know what it means. When you swore an affidavit and you lie, it means perjury. You are lying under oath. And that's what they did. So that is the crux of the matter.
Right. Mr. Tanko Computer, you still haven't answered my question. I'm trying to find out at what point the NDC as a party realized these discrepancies.
The only point we realize is when they send it to Supreme Court. When they send the matter to Supreme Court. Because we started the trial in somewhere February 2025 and ended 24th November 2025. At that long period of trial, nobody raised issue about gazette. Nobody raised issue. They themselves, in their written address to the court before the ruling came out, the High Court, they didn't talk anything about gazette. They didn't raise issue about we being filed outside the mandatory time of 21. They didn't raise it. Even at the point when we were at the case management, nobody raised issue about gazette. Otherwise, the matter would have died over there. If they had raised issue about gazette, if they had brought the 24th November, December gazette, the matter would have died. It wouldn't have gone through this trial. They didn't raise it. They only got to know that there is another gazette because when they lost the matter at the Tamale High Court, when they lost the substantive case, then they realized that even if they go for appeal, they were not going to find their feet over there. Then they ran to Supreme Court, arguing that the gazette that the High Court relied on was the safe one, and therefore they should quash it because there's a gazette which is 24th. That is what they are doing. Technical issue.
So what's next?
Running away from it. What's
next for the NDC? Are you heading back to court?
Yes, on Friday we are going to receive the written reasoning behind the 4-1. The Supreme Court rule. Initially, we told you we respected the decision of the Supreme Court, but we disagree with the ruling. But we want to find out the reasoning behind that. And it's coming out on Friday, 6th February. We will take it. Our lawyers will study it, and we will advise ourselves appropriately. In fact, review is an option. It's a huge option on the table. We are considering the review, but we want to get hold of the ruling, the reasoning behind it, and then we'll proceed from there.
Haruna, the NPP has always touted itself as a believer in the rule of law. Now, the NDC says they're likely to challenge this case in court again. Is the NPP ready to meet them in court?
Even if it goes to the international court, we'll still floor them, mark it on the wall. Mark it on the wall. And you asked him a question that he deliberately refused to answer you. You asked him again that he has still not. Let me answer that question for you. You asked him when they realized that the 6th January Gazette notification was not right. You asked them. They knew it before 11th of June because they got a judgment on that particular 6th January Gazette notification in the Supreme Court, the NDC. They got a judgment on the 11th of June, 2025, indicating that the 6th January Gazette notification is wrong. It's not the right Gazette notification. They got a judgment in their favor. And then they got a ruling on 24th November 2025, and you are asking him when they realized it was an error, and he's refusing to answer you. I am telling you that they knew that that Gazette notification was wrong before 11th of June, when the Supreme Court ruled for them that 6th January Gazette notification was wrong. Again, he indicated that before you will be sworn in, you must be gazetted. That is very true, but it is untrue for a member of parliament in leadership to say that based on CI 127 regulation 43 2B that it was a gazette notification. The law does not say that you should submit the gazette notification to parliament. What the law says in CI 127 is that the electoral commission would then send a report to parliament indicating the only members that have been appointed, that have been elected, the only members that have been elected, which goes to parliament by way of report. My brother Tanko, go and read it. The gazette doesn't go to parliament. It's a requirement. And that was done. The report is an exception from that, which is in B. It is a report. So Honorable Afenyo-Markin should stop relying on some of these things and then not putting the case in proper perspective. We are in a country that we believe in rule of law.
Right.
And for us, we are ready for the NDC at any point in time. They slept on their job and they lost the case. And that is it. It's period. Even if we had realized and we refuse to prompt you, we don't need to prove where we got our evidence from. In law, you don't need to tell even where you got your evidence. You don't need to say it. That is what the law says. You don't have to prove where you got the evidence. You must be able to prove that what the evidence you put before the court is sacred, it is correct, it can give you judgment. Right. And up to today, there's no any gazette notification. So my brothers, they should go, they can continue, they can go and appeal, it's their right, and we'll follow them to the court and get judgment again.
Mr. Rashid Tanko Computer, I spoke to you on Monday. It was concerning the youth in Kpandai agitating about the Supreme Court ruling saying that Matthew Nyindam is an illegitimate MP. And you mentioned to me that you are going to speak to the youth there to calm tempers. And in fact, you agreed with them. Haruna Mohammed raised a point right now that could it be perhaps because of the pressures that you are facing from the youth in the constituency, that is why you are coming up with these new claims? Is there any truth in that?
Certainly no, not at all. In fact, we've been singing this song long since before even the youth came out to demonstrate. The day the judgment came at the Supreme Court, we addressed the press and we indicated that we were going to cite the Electoral Commission and NPP, in fact, Martin Nyindam and his lawyers, for fraud, to tell the whole world where they got the 6th January 2025 Gazette, where they got it from, who gave it to them. They must be investigated, and we are thinking of going to the CID to investigate them because we cannot allow this to go. They brought it to deceive the court, convince the court to get judgment in their favor in Tamil High Court. When they lost it, then they now ran and brought another gazette saying that this one is now the correct one. The one we use for the Tamil High Court is not the correct. They must be held liable for deceiving the court. And that is what we have been saying. So we have been pursuing this matter. And I've spoken to the youth of Kpandai. You see that they've restrained themselves. They've calmed down. Leadership has taken control of it. We've spoken to them, and they know what we are doing. We share their pain because they have been robbed of their victory.
Okay.
Nyindam and his group have robbed them of their victory. And that is what we are all pursuing. So we'll use the same law court to make sure that we overturn this ruling. And so we are going, we will study it, and I can assure you, in fact, they are listening. Our youth are, in fact, very disciplined youth. The NDC youth, very disciplined. They listen to leadership. As soon as the matter came out and we spoke to them, they listened, and they've calmed down, and they are following leadership to make sure that we follow through the right process and get back the needed justice they deserve. Because the substance of the matter has not been looked at.
Okay.
And my brother Haruna is aware of that.
Haruna, I'll come back to you. Please let him make his point.
What they are looking at. They've rigged the election, and they've used technical means to run away with this kind of victory they are talking of.
Okay. Rashid Tanko Computer, thank you very much. He's the Deputy Director of Elections and IT. Let me wrap up with you, Haruna Mohammed, who is also the Deputy General Secretary of the opposition NPP. Haruna, you have a few things to say.
Yes, Kenneth, you see, what the NDC is clearly saying is that they did not have a gazette notification, because if we have brought something that is fake, something that has no origin, then you should have the correct one to put it before the court. Clearly tells you that the NDC is telling everybody that they can be misled, and they are sorry that they have been misled. You see the problem in Kpandai. Mr. Tanko Rashid Computer is the biggest problem in Kpandai. He went to Kpandai and deceived the people. He told them things that they cannot do. He raised their emotions and brought their appetite up. I'm sorry he's my friend, because I don't want him to be beaten up by the youth. But he's the problem in Kpandai. He caused all these mishappenings in Kpandai. Because, look, he will sit down and run down everybody in terms of the elections. They have won, they will do this, they will collect it, and then he runs. And then, look, my good friend is the problem in Kpandai. And I believe that the youth should forgive him. They have lost the case. My brother, you have lost it and you cannot get any favorable judgments.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. That is Haruna Mohammed. He's the Deputy General Secretary of the opposition NPP. And earlier we heard from Rashid Tanko Computer, who's the Deputy Director of Elections and IT with the governing NDC.